Hello my friends, LaRuffa here with another straight up solo. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the expansion for New Frontiers, which is the Starry Rift. This allows you to play New Frontiers solo, and it has a campaign of sorts in there too. So I'm going to kind of describe what you get and go through a couple turns, help you see what the deal is, and then let you know my thoughts. All right, let's get started. Okay folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And if you have, thank you so much for that support. I really, truly appreciate it. So, basically what you've got here in this expansion is a game that helps you to play, I wouldn't say multi-handed because that's not really true, but you are competing against a score and a set of conditions to try to beat subsequent games in order to complete these campaigns. And each of these little campaigns has 4 games you play. And if you don't complete one of the specific things each turn, and they have to be different each time, not each turn, I'm sorry, each game, you lose the campaign, you got to start over. So in my first game, I had a great victory on the easy one, and that meant over 70 points, so I marked that. So now I have to, at least to continue to play the campaign here, I have to get 50 points and colonize 7 or more colonies, or build 2 or more of these major cost developments, the 9 ones, or get 20 or more victory point chips, okay? And so you're using the entirety of the base game to do that. That includes gold tiles, that includes all of the stuff that's out there from a development. There's nothing left out, okay? Additionally, you are putting in the expansion content, which brought to you, just as a reminder, you know, a couple new technologies, basically 4 new technologies of the standard type, 2 of the 9 types, and then some additional planets and a bunch more goals. And that's pretty much it. The one, they brought in this new concept which is called the Xeno concept here, with these kinds of blue style things. And basically what that really is it's kind of like a tougher to beat militarized sort of faction. All right, and if you don't conquer them, but you take them, you might end up with some negative victory points, which is the red ones over there. Okay, now how does this work? Well, basically what happens is you will play your turns as normal, but you won't do anything for the AI on your turn, okay? On their turn, they will choose any of the roles you decide for them to choose, unless the dummy player, or unless there are 2 credits on this produce one, then they will choose that. They don't do any production. They just choose it, take away the credits and set them aside, and then you do your own production as in the normal action. If the dummy player is in the last place, like this one, which you'll see in a second, they'll do this send diplomatic envoy where they'll gain the top priority and they'll take out one of these points from the victory point pool over here, okay? Effectively kind of running the game out. And otherwise, they do whatever you decide, okay? And so basically what this game is sort of like is, I wouldn't say it's like playing multi-handed, but you're making a lot of decisions on what they're going to do based on what benefits you the most, okay, if that makes sense. So it's different than any kind of Automa or any other kind of system that's usually out there. You're not trying to beat, they're not getting a score. They're just setting things out. So they'll discard settlers when they do the settle action. They'll discard bonus points when they do the trade and consume or the send diplomatic envoys. Okay, now this, I'm going to assume you kind of have known this. New Frontiers has been out for quite a long time, although this is the first time you're able to play it solo. And so this game borrows heavily from 2 games that are much older. Race for the Galaxy, of course, which the designer made. And Race for the Galaxy was inspired by Puerto Rico slash, oh, the name has escaped me, the card game version of Puerto Rico. I'll remember that in a second. But anyway, that's what this game is like. It's action selection, it's role selection. You take the role, you get a bonus, everybody else follows you, okay? So that's what it's like. San Juan, that's the card game. And so this game is like taking Race for the Galaxy and then kind of putting it back into the board game style of Puerto Rico, okay? So let's just show you a couple turns here. So again, I am blue. Oh, and by the way, you can play a long game where the goals and such have bigger points, etc. And the game will end after 12 rounds unless you end it by exhausting the victory point pool, by exhausting the colony conditions or the colonist conditions, or you end up settling your 8th or 9th world, or you end up maximizing the board doing more than 10 of the technologies, okay? Developments as they are. And so there is an end to the game or your normal ending. And that's kind of the way it goes. So on his turn, I can choose any of these that I want him to do, okay? And that's wholeheartedly trying to play into my strategy. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to bolster. My goal for this game is I'm going to try to colonize the 7 colonies and get over 50 points. That's what I'm going to do. You don't have to do it in order. I've just decided that's what I'm going to do. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have him do the explore action. So we're going to slide this down showing that he does that. And he doesn't do anything for it. I basically just go into the bag and I get 8 of the exploration tiles. And then I choose them from them, right? And these are the worlds. This backside over here is what they look like when they're not explored. When you do settle them, or non-settled, when you do settle them, they flip over and they go over here. So I have my choice of these 8. And I'm going to pick, in the case what I was talking to you about, I'm trying to settle a lot of different things here. I get specific bonuses for, in this case, I took this thing, it's called Contented Citizens. This was a bonus tile that I'll score if I can put 7 victory points chips on here before the end of the game. I'll also get an additional 8 points, which I should be able to do since this is just the 4th round. So here I have a way to consume on the tourist world 2 goods for 3 points. It's pretty good. I'm going to choose that one. Now I don't right away settle it, right? I have to put it off to the side and then I put these back. And then later on a subsequent settlement phase, I can use my colonists over here, settlers, to settle it. All right, so that's his turn. Now it's my turn. And well, what do I want to do? Well, part of what I've got going on thus far is a little victory point engine because of these 2 worlds. And as a fallback, if my engine really works out nicely, I might even be able to do the satisfy populace, have 20 or more victory points, but we'll see. So I'm going to decide, in this case, to produce. So I'm going to get this token. I'm going to slide this down showing that I've done that action. And then I produce on both of these worlds. The bonus, this is an uplift world, so I would normally not be able to produce there unless I chose that. So that's why I chose it. I want to do that. And then I get to put a good over here, which I'll be able to consume later. Now, this third guy, like I told you, since he is at the back, he's always going to do a send diplomatic envoys and take one of these points out of the victory point area. And that is the round there. He's going to move to the top priority when he does that, pushing me to the back of the line. So I'm going to go ahead and slide these back. It becomes round 5. We move these up. And since I did actually take the produce tile, I don't put a coin on it as normal. So we start again. Well, what do I want him to do? I'd like to settle. So since I have what I need to do that, I'm going to go ahead and have him do that. I'm going to have him do that. It'll move some settlers out. And I'm going to take this world and I'm going to settle it. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to put a colonist on it. Now I'm going to start being able to use it. And it costs me 4 coins minus the 2, or 4 credits minus the 2 because of this technology right here, which gives me a 2 discount. So I have to pay 2. I'm happy about that. There we go. Now it comes to the other player's turn. And so I'm trying to think to myself, what makes some sense here? Probably to either explore again to kind of keep this engine going, or possibly get some more stuff up here. And if I do that, for instance, you know, I've got some green resources over here. This one wouldn't be bad. This one is gain 2, this is a new tile. So produce, gain $1 for every 2 goods you produce this action. So that can be helpful. Why don't we do that? So we're going to have him do the development. I'm going to spend $2, or 2 credits, pardon me, to get this. And there we go. I have an ability. And all of the, as usual in the game, just for people who don't know the game very well, every time you buy development over here, they're worth some amount of points. Or in these cases, they're worth conditional points, a lot at the end. And the planets are also worth points as well. So that's a big part of the strategy, is kind of filling up your settlement area or whatever. Okay, now What I will also do, so it's my turn now, and maybe what I would like to do is, if I choose the explore action, I can get a whole bunch of tiles. I get at least 2 tiles, I suppose, instead of just the 1. And so that would kind of maximize that effect. I could also decide to get another goal, so I have a couple things to work on. And that's probably what I'm going to do instead. So I will do this. I'll take this priority. I'll go up 1 in the priority area. All right, I'll get this. And then I'll draw the top 5 of these goals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and make a choice. All right, so I could stockpile money on there. I can do the consumer's economy, so victory points, but they're non-stockpiled, so that would be the opposite. So I probably won't do that one. Victory points for consume powers. So each of the, if I have like 2 consume powers, which I have right now, that'd be 2 points. If I got 4, it'd be more, 6 even more than that. Conscription, so this is victory points for unsettled colonists at the end. Or military dominance. Well, I'll probably do this tax on trade stockpile. And that's just because these don't necessarily speak to me very much, and I think I could put 7 credits on there by the end of the game. Okay. All right, so now we move on to round number 6. So we're officially starting our halfway point here. And he is going again to take his turn. What do I want him to do? Well, I think I'd like to have him consume. That way I can get some money, I can get some other things going. And although I don't get the bonus point for it, he's going to start, he continues to siphon that away, which makes this unlikely I'm going to do this. It might be a way to just get myself going. That's what I'm going to do. So just to show you, I'm going to have him do trading consume. So he's going to take one of these points away from me. And then I'm able to do, I could sell one good. In this case, it's a gene. It would be $3. Or I can use my consume powers. Well, this consume power says consume a gene's good and any other good for 2 points and $2. Why not? We're going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to get the 2 points. And I'm going to stock them right here. And these do score, so that's okay. And then the $2, I'm not going to stock those yet because I'm going to use these. Once I stock them, they're stuck there. They don't get to be used, I don't think. So I'm just going to keep these in this area for now. And that's what we're going to do. And then we'll figure out later what I can do to kind of get some more on there. Anyway, so I've done that. Now it is my turn. I think I want to produce again. Actually, no. I want to explore because if I'm going to get 7 or more colonies, I'm going to have to speed this up a bit. All right, so again, I'm going to grab 8 of these tiles, not 7 like in the base game, 8 with the expansion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I do get a benefit and a bonus for conquering and doing gene worlds. Like this one would help me because this one is a +2 versus Xeno races, so that would also help because I could dovetail that into this, and these could actually stack. So watch how I'm going to pull this off. These I think would stack because this one gives me +2 for Xeno, and this gives me +2 just in general, so I could actually do both of these without having to spend any money, which is good. So we're going to put all the rest of these back. Or do I have a lot of Xeno worlds? Which means if I got a lot of genetic worlds, maybe the best thing to do would be to get this Pan-Galactic League here because they score a bunch of points for all these gene worlds. All right, so we're going to end up doing that one first and this one second. Doesn't matter where you put them. So I explored, and now they are going to do this top diplomatic, what have you again, and they're going to just set this 1 point aside. 2, 3, 4. All right, so you get the idea, and since I didn't produce, we put one of those on there. I think you get the idea of what you're doing here. It's almost like playing multi-handed, but not quite. But you really get the opportunity to dig deep into whatever strategy you want. They don't take away any of these. They don't take any of the colonies for you. Instead of a usual automa that is a denial like automa, This one does not do that. It doesn't do any of those things. The only thing it's doing is running the clock out by taking away points or settlers. And I'd hardly say that really is a stopping or a blocking mechanism by any means, to be honest. So anyway, that demonstrates it's very quick. Once you set it up, if you know what you're doing, you're definitely playing this game in about a half hour. So there's nothing to bog down. It's very easy to run the bot. And yeah, you can just be able to play some New Frontiers all by yourself. All right, so let me tell you what I think about it. Okay, so I would say that this solo expansion gives you what you've been looking for if you wanted to play New Frontiers and wanted to do it with the minimal amount of overhead to run. The campaign and the multiple games that you have to do to try to accomplish it is very well thought out and has a lot of different things that you have to get into. There are very specific victory conditions as the games get harder, and that means that you're going to have to do your best to really flex some certain strategies to try to pull it off, and I think that's really cool. I would say that this campaign leans heavily into people who have experience with the game because they may have, you know, basically just had a lot of practice and you want to get into it, but you don't have anybody to play with. You can use this expansion to jump right in and do so with minimal effort on your part to learn some new stuff. So it really, it really plays to people who have a familiarity with the base game. However, it doesn't exclude people who have never played it. So if you've been interested in New Frontiers and you want to play it solo and you like this type of game, you could basically bolt the expansion on it with minimal overhead and extra rules to learn and just start playing this right away. You might find that it takes you a while to understand how to do well at certain of these strategies or whatever because you don't have a familiarity with the game, but that's any game, right? So I think that either way, the Starry Rift is awesome for people who want to play this game in a very solitary way. It does not satisfy anybody who's looking for an automated opponent to play against. It does not help you to feel like you're beating another player. It really feels almost totally nothing like playing against other people because you're choosing the roles. And a big part of the multiplayer experience in this game is you're not choosing the roles. You're trying to guess what other people would choose. And that way you don't have to pick it. And that's the whole unique interaction element of this type of game. And there's really no good way, I don't think, to design an Automa bot that would do that without heavy overhead and make for an unenjoyable experience. One that I probably wouldn't even buy, to be honest, because I have such familiarity with Puerto Rico and this game. I have played Puerto Rico hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times with, you know, basically a lot of different people. And I would never dream of playing it solo because it's all about that interaction. It's all about that chess match, so to speak, of trying to figure out what they're going to do so that you can lean into their strategy. So this does not try to do that at all, and I think that's a good thing. It also isn't just a random, you know, roll the dice and see what happens, because that would just be completely random, and then you'd be stuck with a bunch of luck and a bunch of moves that would potentially not help you at all. So I do think that of all the choices they made for this expansion to be able to play solo, they did a good job making this one, and I appreciate that. But I also know it probably won't be for everybody if you're looking for that competitive, I play against some kind of Automa and the Automa gets harder or whatever. That's not it. It's not it here at all. You are trying to beat specific conditions to win, and I think that's cool, but some people might not like that. So anyway, I hope this was informative. I hope this helps you to understand what you're doing, the type of game it is. I know I kind of didn't really give a full explanation of all the different things, but you kind of saw most of everything it had. In fact, I think I did every one of the goals looking at them briefly here. So you saw all the types of actions you could take. But I didn't really talk too much about strategy or game flow too much either. So anyway, either way, I really hope this helps you figure out if this is something you like. And as I always say, whatever you do in the future, I really hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Thanks for watching and take it easy.